right, a very good morning. Karibu sana to TV47. This is TV47 Breakfast on this lovely June 22nd, a Monday of 2026. Karibu sana, my name is Fred Indimuli. I'm flying solo today, but of course, don't you worry, I'll got you sorted. With all the big headlines and big discussions coming up this week, it is a very, very crucial week. That finance bill that was passed by the National Assembly last week will be assented to by the President this week. You know what that means. There's also the anticipation of that memorial for the second anniversary of the Gen Z protests and the number of people who died from police brutality. That will be happening later this week. What exactly we're anticipating on Thursday, we are yet to really understand. You saw what happened on June 25th last year. Of course, just as they marked 1 year since the very tragic events of June 25th, 2024. So that's one thing we'll be anticipating later this week. Discussions around the finance bill and the economy definitely continue. As I mentioned earlier, the fact that the President is expected to assent to the bill either today or tomorrow will set the stage for other discussions coming up. Police have already issued warnings with regard to June 25th protests. The organizers have already notified the police. They did so last week. Many of them, including families of those who died in the Gen Z protests of 2024, insisting that it will be a peaceful march. But the organizers say, and have asked other Kenyans to stay at home. Whether they will heed to that call, it remains to be seen. Also, traders at the Gikomba market continue coming to terms with the weekend fire that destroyed almost 80 to 90% of the market. That fire broke out yesterday morning and destroyed numerous stalls, causing heavy losses for traders. Reports indicate that 2 people died in that fire, with emergency services still working to contain sections which are still lit. Investigations are still underway to establish the cause of the blaze. Matters politics and security incidents, some chaos here and there, including one in Nakuru where Kuresoi MP Alfred Mutai and his supporters clashed at an event involving Governor Susan Kihika's supporters. And this highlights intra-UDA rivalries ahead of 2027. So these are just some of the main talking points this week. Some of them we'll be talking about in the dailies. We'll be looking at what exactly people are talking about on the front pages today. For now, let's take a look at the weather situation. And remember, even as we do that, you can interact with us throughout the show. TV47 Digital is our handle on X, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, Instagram, as well as YouTube, where we're streaming live. Remember to use the hashtag TV47 Breakfast, hashtag Story Nietu. You can tag me as well at Fred Indimuli on X. Let's now take a look at the weather situation this morning. All right, mostly sunny in Makueni today, highs of 28 degrees, lows of 17. More or less the same kind of weather in Isiolo as well. Partly sunny, highs of 28 degrees, lows of 19. It is also highs of 28 degrees in Mombasa, also mostly sunny, lows of 23. So in Makueni, Isiolo and Mombasa, they'll get to enjoy some weather. Closer to Nairobi and Kajiado, also partly sunny today. Highs of 22 degrees, a bit chilly, lows of 14. In Kakamega, also partly sunny, highs of 26 degrees, lows of 18. But Nairobi, quite a chilly day today. It is a cloudy day. We can already feel it here. Highs of 21 degrees. Hiyo ni kidogo sana. Leo ni kijibaridi. Lows of 14 degrees. And that's the weather situation this morning. All right. Just before we take a look at the dailies, let's get some Monday morning inspiration with the quote of the day.
Do one thing every day that scares you.
We start off with the Daily Nation this morning. Police bosses, a power struggle. This is something that has been festering below the surface. Now we can get to see what's happening. So apparently, there's no deal on a ceasefire on ceasefire talks which ended without agreement after 5 hours meeting. So let's talk about this. A protracted power struggle between civilian commissioners at the National Police Service Commission, NPSC, and police chiefs has stalled crucial human resource functions, including promotions, reportedly undermining morale in the rank and file of the National Police Service. The paralysis has now attracted the attention of high authorities amid concerns that it could disrupt security preparations ahead of next year's general election. So they have pictures on the front page of the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, and the National Police Service Commission Chairperson, Dr. Amani Yuda Komora. So among the sticky issues is control. Commission wants a key role in recruitment, promotion, and dismissal of police officers, which ideally should be its job. On matters budget, factions tussling to for control of 60 billion shillings police payroll. Yeah. And Court of Appeal has suspended lower court's order granting Inspector General exclusive powers. This debate about who should be in control of the police payroll has been going on for quite a while, starting from last year, where the Police Inspector General insists he should be the one running the police payroll. Yet it's the National Police Service Commission that employs, hires and fires police officers. It's more or less like the Teacher Service Commission. So that's the main story on pages 4 and 5 of this paper. Let's look at some of the sticky points probably inside the Daily Nation on page 4 and 5. And this is a spread. Security chiefs falling out inside meeting to end rift. And court battle over police powers has paralyzed promotions and caused disquiet, exposing deep divisions between civilian commissioners and the National Police Service commanders. A spread there on pages 4 and 5 of this paper. So that's the main story. Back to the front page. That fire at Gikomba features here prominently. Palechini, 2 killed in Gikomba fire. When will this madness stop, they ask. For the upteenth time, the sprawling Gikomba market burned under mysterious circumstances on Sunday morning, causing the deaths of 2 people and injuries to several others. The suspected arson attack adds to previous unresolved incidents that have claimed many lives and destroyed properties worth millions. So they have images there of the fire and people trying to see if they can salvage anything. They lost millions in that inferno. Remember, sometime late last year, the government had promised to put up a modern market at Gikomba, and that was immediately after the last fire broke out on a section of that market. Now I'm told, or reports indicate, that close to 80 or 90% of Gikomba was affected by this fire. What is the plan going forward? Other quick highlights on the front page of the Daily Nation. How state wasted 14 billion shillings as schools face cash crunch. So apparently the control of budgets has revealed that close to 14 billion was spent on commitment fees for undrawn loans, penalties and related charges during the first 9 months of the financial year that's ending this week. Elsewhere, Sifuna Oburu camps fight for ODM bases, and why High Court rejected bid for Catholic Church divorce tribunal. And that story is on page 2. That's an interesting one, a divorce tribunal. So the High Court has rejected an attempt to stop Catholics from divorcing their partners and exempting them from civil divorce proceedings. In a judgment with implications for church and state relations, which affirms that marriage and divorce remain subject to the law, the court rejected calls to recognize Catholic canon law as an alternative legal framework for marriage disputes. Lazima uende kotini for divorce in Kenya, and the court maintains that no other tribunal or other sitting can determine divorce. That Gikomba fire story is on page 3. And ODM rift widens as Oburu and Sifuna factions fight for control. The story is on page 7. Meanwhile, Ruto and Gachagua camps clash in all Kalau campaigns. We're counting down days to the 16th of July, where the all Kalau by-elections will be held. On the memorial or the remembrance of those victims who died due to police brutality or actions by police on June 25th, 2024, victims now want KNCHR to make public that list. Yeah. Rights Commission recently announced it had finished compiling a list of over 1,000 victims who will receive compensation. People want to know, okay, fine, who are these people? Yeah, make public that list. You could be thinking that because you lost your relative at that time and you're waiting or hoping for compensation, maybe you're not going to receive anything because your kin is not on that list. Back page of the Daily Nation, of course, there's nothing else there but the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The main story here is Haaland headache for Senegal in crucial fixture with Norway. But if you could take a look at other highlights, and as far as the World Cup is concerned, the match that has just ended is New Zealand versus Egypt, where Egypt emerged victorious 3-1. Just ended a few minutes ago. Uruguay also played Cape Verde, where they were held to a 2-2 draw, meaning that African countries or African teams are doing really well at the World Cup so far. Belgium drew had a barren draw against Iran, and Saudi Arabia Spain gave Saudi Arabia a beating to remember the 4-0 win. I'm told Tunisia ndio wameumia kidogo. But most African teams, remember this time around, at least Africa has 10 different countries taking part in the World Cup. Most of them are doing relatively well, including DRC, which is my favorite African team. Wale wengine wako chini down south tulisema wao, we're not taking their jobs. It is their own job to support their team. Waendelee hivyo hivyo na Mungu awasaidie. All right, so that's as far as the World Cup is concerned and the Daily Nation. Let's move on to the Standard. The Standard, they call themselves a bold paper, has only one story on the front page, and it's an analysis of some of the promises that President William Ruto has been making over the last 4 years during his presidency, under the title, In 6 Months, If You Know, You Know. So one of them is 750 kilometers of new roads. That was made back in February 2025. Sema kwa miezi sita. Gikomba market redevelopment, and this we've talked about. Yeah, April 9th this year. He said we are going to transform Gikomba. April. And in the next 6 months, you will see another market. We will build a 3-floor market in Gikomba in a record 6 months. That is phase 1, which will cost 800 million shillings. Yeah. Sasa nikiuliza sasa sababu kumechomeka Gikomba kote, itafanya hii kazi kuwe rahisi ama ngumu? Ni swali tu. Ending water crisis, this promise was made in October 2025. He said the government will end the water crisis in Ukambani. The mega Thwake Dam will be completed in May 2026. We are in June 2026. The stalled Umar Dam in Kitui, which has been under construction for 15 years, will finally be completed by April 2026. Once again, we're in June of 2026. Kamarini Stadium, this promise was made in 2023. And he says in 6 months' time, the stadium in Kamarini in West Pokot, which is historic, could be complete. It is June of 2026. Digital tablets for chiefs, that was made in December of last year. And once again, all chiefs will receive digital tablets within 6 months. I don't know if they've received. 6 months should have ended this month. 1 million chapatis, I remember this one. This promise was made in March last year. And they said there'll be a machine that will be making 1 million chapatis per day. And on corruption cases, a promise made on June of 2024. The government says it will ensure cases are resolved within 6 months and that it will no longer be possible for corrupt people to use orders to avoid charges or delay justice. 2 years later, not so sure. So that story has been covered on the front page and on the inside pages. A spread here, page 6 and 7. The 6-month promises broken. How Ruto's deadlines have failed to match delivery. And they have a lot more of those promises on pages 6 and 7. You can grab yourself a copy of this paper. Now ujisome. Yeah. So a section of the Kamarini Stadium in Iten, where construction has been ongoing for nearly a decade. The facility is expected to be completed by October this year. There's an artistic impression of what the stadium should look like once complete. If you look against the picture of the reality on the ground, enye mambo kwa ground ni tofauti. Go back to page 2. Ruto to sign finance bill. And according to this paper, this one will be signed between today and tomorrow. Land cartels and goons keep a tight grip on Kirema's 1,000 acres in the city. Can you imagine owning 1,000 acres of land in the city of Nairobi? Yeah. So the Kirema family has accused cartels and goons who allegedly sold their 1,000 acres of land in Nairobi of frustrating efforts to regularize land and issue title deeds to occupants. Right. Father's Day. Yesterday, yes, it was International Father's Day. Father's Day. Men speak out on silent crisis of neglect and pressure. Remember, June is still the Men's Mental Health Month, closely linked with Father's Day. And all men out there reminded, please check on your brother or your father or your son. Happy belated Father's Day to every dad out there. So those are the main stories. They have that story of Gikomba fire on page 5. Page 4, they have an interesting story of fish from Lake Nakuru. To eat or not to eat, the science and politics of Lake Nakuru fish. I never knew, and I come from that town, that you could eat fish from Lake Lake Nakuru. Interesting. All right. How bandwidth is outgunning bandits in North Rift. That's another story on matters security on page 9 of this paper. Tukienda back page of the Standard, definitely matters World Cup. We've talked a lot about what has happened from factory floor to World Cup star. Who are they talking about? Is Dennis Undav. Is proving himself a key player for Germany at the World Cup. Yeah. Meanwhile, today's fixtures at the ongoing World Cup. Argentina versus Austria at 8 p.m. Tomorrow, Tuesday, 12 a.m., France versus Iraq. Still on Tuesday, 3 a.m. I think this is a game that many Kenyans would probably wake up early to watch. Norway versus Senegal, another African team back in the play. And on Tuesday at 6 a.m., Jordan versus Algeria, another African team there. So 2 African teams playing early morning games tomorrow. Something to look forward to. Senegal versus Norway and Jordan versus Algeria. All right. That's the Standard. Naitwa Kenya's bold newspaper. Turejelee kwenye mtandao, tuangazie gazeti la The People Daily. People Daily continues to talk about, and they've been doing this analysis starting last week on how the 2027 races are unfolding, especially for President William Ruto, what his plans look like, who and where he'll be employing a lot of energy towards. So governors mount early defense of Ruto's 2027 bid. Drawn from diverse regions, these county chiefs are the incumbents' point persons, using their county-wide political structures to mobilize support across vast areas and defend the president against an increasingly rampant united opposition. So they focused on the governors that the president will be using to campaign. Last week they were focusing on the MPs, I think focusing on cabinet secretaries as well. So hapa kuna Johnson Sakaja ule wa Nairobi, Ahmed Abdullahi of Wajir, Kenneth Lusaka of Bungoma, Susan Kihika Nakuru, Anne Waiguru of Kirinyaga, Jonathan B. ule Kotimoja wa Uasin Gishu, Fernandes Barasa Kakamega, Gladys Wanga Homa Bay, Wesley Rotich of West Pokot, or is it Elgeyo Marakwet, one of those, Abdul Swamad Nasir of Mombasa, and Cecily Mbarire of Embu. Those are the governors the president is banking on to help him campaign for his re-election. Remember, most of these governors, save for a few, will be seeking a second term in office. So will they really have time to campaign for the president, or will they have to split their time between their own campaigns for re-election and the president? Interesting. Kenya braces for widespread Gen Z demonstrations is another story on the front page of this paper, and I think this is the biggest discussion this week, as even when we anticipate the signing or assenting into law of the Finance Bill 2026, a lot of discussion is on what exactly will happen on Thursday. Will people come out to do their normal jobs, to open their shops and to go to offices, or will it be like the last 2 years where it is total paralysis in most urban areas across the country as the protests continue? That is something that we'll be looking at and will be covering for you. Auditor General flags 31.2 billion shillings installed government projects. You know, we keep talking about these billions. I think Kenyans don't even care anymore. There was one content creator, I think on TikTok, who keeps breaking down how much a billion shillings is. And he said that if you were to eat a million shillings every day, if you had to spend a million shillings every day, it would take you not less than 75 years to get to a billion. Now you can imagine figures, we're talking about 31.2 billion shillings. Your pesa is mind-boggling. Let's take a look at the Star. Fresh, independent and different. The main headline is on missing pension billions. So this is pushing workers into financial mess. Their outstanding contributions have hit 67.9 billion shillings as of March 2026, meaning that government departments are deducting these monies from their workers, from civil servants. Unaenda kwa payslip unaona pension ilikatwa, but that money is not being remitted to the respective pensions, including NSSF, to the tune of 67.9 billion shillings. Hiyo pesa itatoka wapi? Ukienda kuretire unaambiwa boss, your employer did not remit that amount. Let's look at the inside pages of the Star, especially on that pension. Remember, pension has been talked about a lot, including partly financing the infrastructure fund. Now we're talking about unremitted contributions towards pension. Kama unaenda kuretire hivi karibuni, kama director wangu Emmanuel Inonda, hapo kuna shida. So unpaid pension contributions ni nyingi sana. Who owes the most in as far as pension is concerned? Public universities. They're the ones who are deducting these amounts from their employees but not remitting the same. County governments, over 20 billion shillings. The health sector comes in third at 2 billion, and then agricultural institutions at 1.6 billion. 92% public sector share of unremitted deductions. Yeah, it's mostly government departments. Back to the front page, unseen hand of DP Kindiki in Olkalau MP by-election, and we see the deputy president disembarking from that military helicopter that usually ferries the president. He's been using this for his campaigns as well. He's a main man to watch when it comes to the election, the by-election we anticipate on July 16th, 2026 in Olkalau. Other quick stories on the front page. Inside man's journey to the depths of mental illness and back. Remember, as I mentioned earlier, this is a special coverage as we continue marking the Men's Mental Health Month of June. So stories around men and mental health are key. Cartels are now using passenger buses to traffic drugs. Parliament has been told. Ile basi unapanda imebeba mihadarati pia. And President Ruto says Kenya to put up first national ambulance dispatch center by July. July is a few days away. Na pale kwa ile gazeti ingine ameambiwa na make promise na happen. Right, so those are the main stories. Back page, of course, matters. World Cup, lethal combination. They talk about France, Mbappe and Olise. They hint at a partnership for the ages. Michael Olise and Kylian Mbappe. Pictured there with the head coach of the French team, Didier Deschamps, during the match against Senegal. And that's the Star. Fresh, independent and different. You can grab yourself a copy of this paper for only 30 shillings. Let's take a look now at Taifa Leo. Fichueni orodha ya fidia, watetezi wasema sasa serikali yawekewa presha kuchapisha majina ya wahanga wa maandamano watakaolipwa fidia ya shilingi bilioni 2. So baadhi ya waathiriwa wanahofu kuwa huenda hawako katika orodha ya wahanga wapatao 2,000 iliyopokezwa rais wiki jana kutoka kwa tume ya KNCHR. Na pale tunaona picha ya Rais William Ruto, naibu wake Profesa Kithure Kindiki na mwenyekiti wa tume ya kitaifa ya haki za kibinadamu KNCHR, Clarice Oganga, wakibeba ripoti ya tume hiyo kuhusu mwongozo wa fidia kwa wahanga wa ukiukaji wa haki za binadamu katika ikulu ya Nairobi wiki jana. Wanasema orodha hii, wengi ambao wanasema ni waathiriwa wa mambo haya na wanangojea kulipwa fidia, hawajui ni majina gani yako hapa. Unangojea tu utalipwa fidia na hujui kama uko kwenye list. Vidokezo zaidi, maandamano, Rengo avaa viatu vya Raila. Gavana yule wa Siaya yuko katika mstari wa mbele kuongoza maasi dhidi ya serikali, ukiwemo ukumbusho wa Gen Z. Orengo wa kijana walipoenda kwa askari polisi kuambia kuwa watakuwa na maandamano siku ya Alhamisi wiki hii, aliambia Wakenya wengine wale ambao wataweza kuja barabarani, kaeni nyumbani. Vita vya ubabe katika idara ya polisi, tumezungumzia hayo katika gazeti la Daily Nation. Na serikali yatupa minofu Olkalao. Chama cha UDA kinafanya kila kiwezalo kushinda uchaguzi mdogo wa eneo bunge la Olkalao mwezi ujao. Pale juu Gen Z, Juni 25, Ruto ataka sheria ifuatwe. Rais asisitiza kuwa vijana wana haki ya kujieleza, ila akawataka wajizuie kuharibu mali. Kuna mbunge mmoja hapa tu Kiambu amesema vijana wa Gen Z wapigwe risasi miguuni. Sijui anamwambia nani, lakini masuala ya dimba la dunia, kombe la dunia, anasema ni zamu ya Argentina na Ufaransa leo. Kikosi cha Messi kinakabiliana na Austria, Leblo wakikiona na Iran. Gazeti la Taifa Leo. Na tukimalizia haya magazeti humu nchini, la mwisho ni Business Daily. South Africa farms in 413 billion shilling swoop on Kenya blue chips. So buyout set a stage for foray into East and Central Africa. Fast growing regional economies are key attraction. So these are just businesses from South Africa and down south that are looking and salivating at Kenyan companies. And they'll be investing. That's not so bad. 413 billion coming into these companies. It means that we're not doing so badly. And Mbadi deferred the 10 billion shilling bank's core capital rule. Why he deferred this? So claims of a potential slowdown in bank lending to households and businesses this year. So the National Treasury extend the 10 billion shilling core capital requirements, setting a one-off hard deadline of December 2032. So banks have now a reprieve. They don't have to ensure that they have 10 billion shillings core capital. That requirement will come into effect in 2032. 2032 ni mahali ile term ya pili inaisha. Yeah. Tax filers win rights to amend and okay returns. That's on the ticker. Advisors set to earn 77.2 million from family banks listing on NSC. And IMF urges central bank to slash policy meetings to 4. And that's the Business Daily. Let's come back and take a look at the other regional papers. We do have a paper, the Daily Monitor from Uganda. Let's start from there. Tuone kule Uganda wanazungumzia nini. Queries cloud Grand Mbarara Airport plan. Uganda is set to build in Mbarara City what President Museveni says will be one of the world's largest airports. Ni kama tu vile Kenya tunapanga kujenga airport nyingine na tukapatia ule jamaa wa ni Zambia ama Zimbabwe. Proponents, back to Uganda for now. Proponents front the planned Nyakisharara International Airport as a midpoint transit, logistical and refueling hub between China and Brazil, claiming it will triple Uganda's economy. But will the project get the wings to fly? Yes, that's the main story on the Daily Monitor in Uganda. Hata wao wanangojea airport mpya. Tuingie Tanzania and they start off with the Citizen. The price of the nightlife boom. They're talking about the nightlife in Dar es Salaam. So Dar es Salaam's nighttime soundscape is increasingly becoming a public health concern as rising noise from bars, wanakunywa sana, concerts and entertainment venues disrupt sleep, affect productivity and exposes residents to long-term risks such as stress, hypertension and hearing loss. Waache maneno haya. Wameshaenda Mirema wakaona. Yeah? Dar es Salaam ni watu soft sana. Wakikuja hapa Mirema watashikwa na haya magonjwa yote siku ya kwanza. Right. They talk about marriage also on the front page of the Citizen. Why ending child marriage matters for Tanzania's Vision 2050. Alright. Gazeti la Mwananchi tukisalia kule Bongo. Halima Mdee afunguka awatwisha mzigo viongozi Chadema. Ni baada ya Lema kumkaribisha kurejea tena kwenye chama hicho. Aweka bayana mambo muhimu ya kuzingatiwa ili kuondoa mpasuko uliopo baada ya uchaguzi wa ndani wa chama hicho. Masuala ya chama cha upinzani kule Tanzania Chadema yakipewa kipaumbele kwenye gazeti hili. Na ni wiki ya hukumu bajeti kuu, bado wanazidi kuzungumzia masuala ya bajeti yao. Kumbuka bajeti zote 4 actually za Afrika Mashariki zilisomwa bungeni zote siku moja. Ilikuwa Alhamisi tarehe 11 mwezi Juni. Kule Tanzania wanaendelea kuzungumzia hayo. All right, those are the local and regional dailies. Let's take a look at the caricatures. In the Kenyan dailies, we start off with the one on the Star, and it has a caricature of the former deputy president using a binoculars. Anaangalia kule mbali. Alafu kuna jamaa amejificha chini ya meza anaitwa Kiharu, member of parliament. Ni sababu hakuwa bungeni kupiga kura wiki jana for the finance bill. He was among the 180 plus MPs who stayed away from the vote, na hiyo amesalamiwa proper on social media. He released a statement na akamwambia hatutaki kusikia statement about your humility. You are a member of parliament and that is exactly what you should do. 180 members, imagine, they stayed away from the house. Yeah, that's more than half of the members. They stayed away from the house when the crucial voting for the Finance Bill 2026 was underway. So he's being told here by the former deputy president, according to this cartoonist, you betrayed Murima people by missing the Finance Bill vote. Let's move on to the cartoon on the Daily Nation. It has two frames with a chameleon there. Anatumia ile inaitwa ni kipaza sauti. Akienda kule mlimani, this chameleon says 1 term. Akienda State House anasema 2 terms, sir. Chameleon anabadilisha rangi depending on where he is. The cartoon on the no, this is the People Daily now, yes. The People Daily talks about what's happening in ODM, and they have a car being driven on opposite directions by people, two different people. Na iko juu ya chungwa going towards 2027 elections, but using different directions. So a caricature here of the party leader heading to the left, anasema tuko na power, and yule jamaa wa Linda Mwananchi Edwin Sifuna anasema 1 town, pointing at the different direction. What's happening to ODM? Big question there. And also the Star, finally. We have Harry back, and he has a caricature of President Ruto walking a tightrope and trying to balance between his 2027 ambitions and the promises he's made so far to Kenyans. Yeah, this is a standard. The promises he has made are the ones featured on the front page under the headline, in 6 months, Tuta Nita. That's a cartoon on the Standard this morning. Of course, also the biggest talking points will be back for State of the Nation with Fwamba NC Fwamba, who's a political analyst, Joanna Kinyi Opon, who's also a political analyst, and Anthony Gitonga, who's an MP aspirant for Othaya constituency, after the break to discuss these and other stories. Remember, you can interact with us through our social media pages on X, TV47 Digital, on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube, where we're streaming live. It is TV47 Kenya. And remember to use the hashtag. The hashtag is TV47 Breakfast, hashtag Story ni Yetu. Before we take a break, let's take a look at the traffic situation in and around the city. Right, traffic this morning, and Eastern Bypass, where it's now become normal, all the way from Mihango past Utawala towards the airport, it's been getting really busy, especially areas around Utawala, pale Naivas. Watu wengi wanajaribu kwenda upande ule wa town. Even after that, Outer Ring Road interchange, some traffic there, mostly matatus picking up passengers as you head towards Cabanas. Outer Ring Road, not so bad. A bit of traffic around Feather and Tasia, but other than that, it's smooth all the way on both sides. Jogoo Road getting busy this morning, kama kawaida pale Makadara, and stretching all the way to Mbotela. After that, a bit of traffic at Shaurimoy, just before you get to the City Stadium roundabout. But after that, Mudhurwa is not so bad, opposite Machakos as you get towards town, into town. Haile Selassie Avenue, building up slowly, especially around Haile Selassie Avenue. Between that August 7th Memorial Park, ile inaitwa Railway roundabout, na ile ingine Landis Road, not so bad this morning. Watu ni kama watusafiri sana leo. Let's take a look at the other major highway into town. It's Thika Road. And Thika Road, immediately after Ruiru, there's a lot of traffic. There must be an incident there. And it stretches all the way up to KU. Imagine that. A long stretch of red from Ruiru to KU. Must be an incident, especially towards town. Because after that, there's no traffic at all. I think all the vehicles are held back at Ruiru and KU. After that, from Kahawa, Wendani, Githurai, Kasarani, there's no traffic. Even at Garden City Mall, there's no traffic. It goes all the way. The next time you encounter traffic from Thika Road is at the Mathare Mental Hospital. So all the traffic is backed up at KU and stretches far back as Ruiru. Hapo ni kubaya, because even getting into the bypass, either you use Eastern bypass or the other side, kuna shida. A bit of traffic on Kiambu Road, especially from DCI heading towards Muthaiga. Upande ile ngine ya town hakuna shida. Hata Ngong Road, it's clean today. Junction Mall hakuna traffic. Pale Prestige Plaza iko sawa. Let's take a look at Waiyaki Way. Waiyaki Way is also green. And Mombasa Road as well. Both sides. Getting into town is so easy. The only problem, watu wa Thika Road. Na ni pale Ruiru all the way to KU. Poleni sana. That's the traffic situation this Monday morning in Nairobi. All right, let's now take a break. We'll be back with State of the Nation to discuss the big headlines this morning. Later on, remember, being a Monday Blitz, the crew will be here to discuss, of course, the World Cup. Mingi, right now, all the discussions are around the World Cup and how African teams are performing at the 2026 FIFA World Cup in USA, Canada, and Mexico. See you after the break.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m.
Good morning.
You have my rent?
Leo jioni kama tutakuwa tumelipa rent, nauza simu yako.
Hamna pesa. I need 3 G's to make my nails today.
Sasa hivi natuhusu aje?
Can I order now? Do you ship? Can I get blinking ones?
Mimi nilikuwa na trade. Nimewekelea kitele yangu. Kitele yangu na trade. Nikikunywa.
Oh my God. He left me. Nitumie ni line.
Uko nje kuna wifi.
Why? Hi-Fi?
Wait, so what do we call this dish again?
I have no idea.
The cucumbers are there specifically for my beauty routine.
Tamulini kero make a beauty product.
Na ameenda.
Tunafaa tukuwe na logo yetu. Like si ni brand already. We won't entertain divas.
No. I'm not dealing with a man child.
Amazing. Nishapenda hii energy.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
My father used to tell me that our hotel is the home for travelers. I guess I forgot that. Recently, it's been more of a mirror of my own ambition. We might fail. We will probably fail, but not for a lack of trying. So for the last time, and the first time, welcome to Connect In, the best experience in East and Central Africa and its environs.
Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m.
This is a very serious place.
I see that. Surely. Hey, Nyumba.
This is the place.
Just for a few days.
Rule number 2.
Kwani Google inajua maisha yangu wewe?
That's my seat.
It's a chair. It was hers.
You're new here?
Yes.
You learned the rhythm.
This place is run by structure. Structure.
It is a system. Ni venye tu ni system haisikizi.
And what happens if something you haven't chosen enters your day?
I remove it.
That's not always going to be possible here.
Then you are going to have a problem.
Noted.
What are you planning? To escape from a resort?
This is not a resort, my friend. This is a storage.
Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47.
Nairobi, where the hustle never sleeps and neither do the scammers.
Link Up, we are talking about something that's affecting all of us. We are talking trust.
We're diving into the campus life.
Stay fresh, stay safe.
Stay linked up.
My father used to tell me that our hotel is the home for travelers. I guess I forgot that. Recently, it's been more of a mirror of my own ambition. Ooh, yeah. We might fail. We will probably fail, but not for a lack of trying. So for the last time, and the first time, welcome to Connect In, the best experience in Eastern Central Africa and its environs.
This is a very serious place.
I see that.
Surely. Hey, Nyumba.
This is the place.
Just for a few days.
Rule number 2.
Kwani Google inajua maisha yangu wewe?
That's my seat.
It's a chair. It was hers.
You're new here?
Yes.
You learned the rhythm.
This place is run by structure. Structure.
It is a system. Ni venye tu ni system haisikizi.
And what happens if something you haven't chosen enters your day?
I remove it.
That's not always going to be possible here.
Then you are going to have a problem.
Noted.
What are you planning? To escape from a resort?
This is not a resort, my friend. This is a storage.
You have to be very careful. Fake money can kill business.
Na leo mkorada yangu.
Small money, kapesa kadogo, big behavior.
I only have big notes.
Alikuwa anatafuta courage.
Yaani nafaje kutengeneza kachumbari na manyanya zinakaa hivi? Ona kiki ni kama kiwaru.
Hiyo inaitwa commitment to the lie. Amejicommit.
Ndio hiyo. Mpatie.
Unajua kama una mtu kitu, hata tu salamu ya kawaida inakaa kama reminder.
Habari yako?
Sintalipa kesho.
Kesho gani when?
Si kesho ya kesho ya tomorrow.
Your turn. Zaini budi became choke.
Nebu ni man.
With just 3 days to the second anniversary of the June 25th Gen Z protest, families of victims gathered at Nairobi Baptist Church to remember loved ones whose lives were cut short during one of the most defining moments in the country's recent history.
Let's bow our heads and pray.
But beyond the prayers and tributes, a familiar demand echoed throughout the service. For many here, the anniversary is not only a moment of remembrance, but also a reminder of promises they say remain unfulfilled. One after another, the names of those killed during the demonstrations were read aloud.
Vance Kirato Karobia, Credit Oyaro, Caroline Shiramba.
Survivors who attended the service spoke of lives permanently altered by injuries, trauma, and economic hardship, saying the impact of the protest continues to be felt nearly 2 years later.
The government shot me. Ruto's government shot me. You may wonder where I was shot. This is where I was shot.
When are you going to kill us? You are going to kill us and still compensate us.
I think it is not a government, it's a blood government.
As the country prepares for planned June 25th commemorations, church leaders used the occasion to call for dialogue and respect for constitutional freedoms.
We confess woe to those who have made unjust laws, who have written oppressive decrees, who have denied justice to the poor and withheld it from the needy of this nation.
God is raising us to rebuild what is broken, to speak the truth, to demand justice, and to imagine a different, renewed Kenya, our lovely nation.
The memorial service also drew activists and opposition leaders who argued that the country cannot move forward without addressing unresolved questions surrounding protests-related deaths, injuries, and alleged abductions.
We want to demand that this government allows the families of the victims and friends to honor these heroes in peace.
There will be monetary compensation, which must also be administered in a transparent manner.
The government has proposed compensations plan for victims of recent Gen Z-led protests. The framework suggests 3 million Kenya shillings compensations for deaths and 2 million Kenya shillings for cases of enforced disappearances. However, survivors and families argue the figures fall far short of the gravity of the losses suffered during the protest. Michelle Mwangi, TV47, Nairobi.
That's our main discussion this morning. On the front page of Taifa Leo, habari kuu pale inasema fichueni orodha ya fidia, watetezi wasema. Kenya inapojiandaa kwa maadhimisho ya pili ya waliouawa wakati wa maandamano ya vijana wa Gen Z mnamo mwaka 2024, waathiriwa wanataka tume ya kitaifa ya haki za binadamu Kenya, KNCHR, iweke wazi orodha ya watakaonufaika. Baadhi ya waathiriwa kutoka Nairobi wamesimulia makovu wanayoishi nayo tangu siku hiyo kutokana na madhila waliotendewa. Yes, even in anticipation of the remembrance of what happened on June 25th, 2024, a lot of talk about how this compensation is going to be conducted. 3 days before, that list is yet to be made public. Allow me to introduce my panelists this morning. Fuamba Insi Fuamba, political analyst. Karibu sana Fuamba.
Asante.
And Anthony Gitonga was an MP aspirant of Othaya constituency. Karibu sana.
Asante sana. Good morning.
A lot of talk around whether it will just be a memorial or there could be potential unrest. We'll come to that. The warnings issued by the president, whether or not opposition leaders or those opposed to this government are trying to take advantage of this and use this remembrance for something else. Could it be a political trap for the Gen Z from the political forces? And what exactly we'll see on Thursday, we'll be looking at that. But first, let's start off with this issue of compensation. So fine, the government unveils a 2 billion shilling plan, which is a lot of money, and says those who died or lost their lives, those families will be compensated at this much minimum, this much, and all this. But the list is not public yet. And many people are wondering, okay, so who exactly this will be compensated? Is there time to actually verify? Is there time for correction? Don't you think that probably by now, those who are to be compensated, it should have been clearer?
First, I would like to applaud the government for taking out the initiative of compensating the victims who were killed in 2025 or who died as a result of the demonstrations. It has never happened before. This is the first one. Of course, people have been killed or disappeared under various bad circumstances in the previous regimes, but this time round, at least the government took that initiative of taking action towards that. Now, getting to your question, the issue around money is usually very contentious, and sometimes you may not want to be reckless about it. And since these are public funds that are going to be used, I think there is supposed to be a very vigorous system of verification so that we do not have imposters. You know, there are certain places in this city, for example, every time you'll see a disaster, you'll find same common faces appearing as part of the affected people. So just to avoid the infiltration of people who do not deserve, it's important that mechanisms are put in place so that we have a thorough verification process. And I think that's what the government is working on, or the committee that was given that mandate is also working on, to ensure that people who do not deserve do not get what they don't deserve. And those people who deserve get their rightful share. But again, looking at the whole situation, it is important that Kenyans use this as a lesson so that we do not have to be finding ourselves in a situation whereby we lose lives unnecessarily and then address it through compensation or through other means. The best thing is to avoid situations that can cause us to lose lives unnecessarily.
Yes. Gitonga, if you listen to the story we've just played now, even the Gen Zs are just echoing what Fuamba said, that you cannot be killing us, then compensating us.
Correct.
That the feeling is that once this method is used this time, then that will be the trend. That it will be easy to allow the police to do anything after all.
Yeah.
I want to agree, and good morning, and thank you for having me this morning. I want to agree that the issue is never really about compensation. I think we need to see a government that is keen to ensure that first life is protected, that the young people's voice is heard, you know, not just about killing and silencing them when it comes to, you know, talking about important issues and then telling them that if you die, we are going to give you 3 million shillings, and if we abduct you, we are going to give you 2 million shillings. I think the 2024 Gen Z protest and really what happened around it is a lesson that the government and all of us needed to have learned. One is really about public participation. The young people need to be involved, everybody need to be heard, so that we avoid situations and circumstances where we have, you know, a government killing its own children. Number two is really to say that we hoped and believed that that was the end of that kind of, you know, protest or killing, so that it doesn't happen again. So ours is to urge the government, even as we continue to have the mechanisms to compensate the families of those who lost their loved ones, that this does not happen again. We need to see a government that is intentional to protect life. We need to see an administration that really listens, you know, and engages the young people. It's not just about compensation. Fred, I want to tell you that there is no amount of money that you can equate with life. Even if it's 10 million shillings or 20 million shillings, it is not necessary. What we need is a country that is democratic, a country that gives space to its young people and to its citizenry. The other point, and that is why you see a lot of suspense around, is that we've seen a government that is really not keen to learn. The reason why we see all this is because there is no open communication, all right? There is a list, there's compensation budget, but that is the complaint. That list is not public, all right? We want to see who is being compensated, who is receiving this money, all right? What other names are on this list? And the government by now needed to know that Kenyans want very free and transparent communication, all right? You see everything that is happening, you know, from Ebola quarantine facility, to many other projects. The issue is always we do not know what is happening. So the challenge is we need to see a government that is not just keen to compensate, but is also intentional to protect life and to listen to the voices of the young people.
All right.
Yeah.
Also, allow me to welcome to the panel Joanne Akinyi Opon, who is also a political analyst. Karibu sana and good morning. We're talking about this planned compensation of victims of police brutality that was unveiled last week by the president. There's a list of about 2,000 people who are supposed to benefit and 2 billion shillings to be spent on the same. But now the headline has activists insisting that this list should be made public. Do you feel that there's been unnecessary secrecy in how this process is being conducted by the government?
So thank you very much for having me. Good morning, fellow panelists.
Good morning.
I'd want to agree with the words of my fellow panelists that while I want to admit that the government has taken a good step in the right direction towards compensating victims of police brutality, it's not in the previous government that we saw the same happening. There are so many cases recorded in the previous regimes where the victims of police violence were not compensated, they were not even identified. So I feel like even forming a committee for compensation is a step in the right direction that deserves applauding. However, I'd also want to agree with the activists that insist on not making it a secret, because how will we verify, how will we hold them accountable? If it's kept a secret and then later on the right people don't end up getting it, then how are we supposed to hold them accountable? So I think publishing the names, there's no harm in doing that at all, because in that it will help in knowing if the right people who are supposed to be compensated are actually the same people who have been compensated.
We saw something happen on this day last week. I think it was Tuesday or Monday when this plan was officially launched by the president at State House. Compensation of victims of police brutality was one of the main agendas of the 10-point agenda MOU signed between ODM and UDA. So ODM was really part and parcel of this discussion. But if you had the sentiments by the party leader of ODM that day, it would appear that ODM was not involved much in this discussion. The party leader was not even aware that the event was going to be then. that he had not even been properly invited to this event. He was not even ready to make his own remarks. That shows that there's some level of secrecy here. Was it necessary to leave out ODM in this?
No, not really. I think Dr. Oburu Odinga himself even said that it's not a big deal. He said it's not his brother. Of course, at that time, it was Raila Odinga. But I want to look at it from a different perspective, that the arrangement between the late Honorable Raila Odinga and President William Ruto was at the time supposed to bring together some kind of a well-organized system of handling the process. And that's how the committee came into existence. And therefore, since the ball was already set rolling, the issue of invitations, who is coming, who is not supposed to be a big deal. The big deal here was about how far...
The leader of ODM is not able
progress
to make remarks about this plan that they've had all this time.
But he had an opportunity to speak.
But he was not prepared.
But at the end of the day, you see these issues around, especially the Gen Zs who got afflicted in the arrangement. And at that time, it was based on the people who contested in the last election, based on the almost 50% control of the country from one point or the other. So right now, that is not supposed to be an issue that is supposed to bring a lot of drama. It's not necessary. What matters most is the focus of the point and the objectives of that meeting, which was accomplished because...
My question is still around the level of secrecy in this whole process, because activists want it public. It would appear that even ODM, to them it's not as open as probably they would have hoped, that this whole process has been controlled by probably State House.
I believe that eventually the list is supposed to come out. I think for transparency purposes, that is true. But it's not necessarily tied to one individual knowing and the other one not knowing. If it's once it's in public domain, it will be available for everybody to see. What matters most is the process being handled to the level of the money getting to the victims, real victims. And that, I think, is going to be seen in the coming future.
All right. So let's now take a look at now the real remembrance. And there's a split between now remembering the victims of the police brutality and the potential of violence or unrest that we've witnessed in the last 2 years. Of course, 2024, and now the very first anniversary last year. Right now, many people don't know what will happen on Thursday. Yeah. Of course, there are those who want to go and remember the victims, lay flowers next to Parliament, but there's also anxiety about what will happen to businesses. Will people go out to the streets? Some people have been told it's a public holiday, don't go to work. Do you feel like someone is taking advantage of this?
Maybe, maybe not. But I think what we need to see is that we need to see these families, remembering their loved ones in their own very special way, all right? The government should be able to give that space. If they want to have peaceful protest, if they want to go and lay flowers, if they want to walk in town, they should be allowed to do that. And they should be given maximum security, all right? Of course, there will always be political opportunists who want to ride on those moments. But it is important that we are talking about lives that we lost. 61 lives that we lost. Those are families that are still in pain. All right, 2 years later, much as the compensation has still not come in, it's important that they are let and they're given room to mourn and to continue remembering their loved ones.
It's a disruption to normal day life.
Yes.
That these organizers are calling for people staying at home, not going to work.
Yes.
Do you feel that is necessary, or do you think this is something that could benefit politicians, just disrupting?
If it's about remembering the lives that lost, I think it is not really necessary, not unless there are more issues that they want, the government to address. The finance bill was already, discussed and passed. I think it is already overtaken by events at this point in time. Not unless the planners or the Gen Zs have new topics or have new conversations that want to have with government, I think it's okay for them to be allowed to do that. But we have also seen in the past, not just political opportunists, but, criminals and looters taking advantage of this protest. This protest being, overtaken by criminal elements, and you see people looting businesses in town, mugging people in town. It is not necessary. We need to have a system that allows for people and especially the young people who feel aggrieved to be given space to protest. And at the same time, we don't need to see business disrupted. The business community still needs to be protected and given space to continue with their day-to-day operations. The kids need to go to school, people need to go to work. So that is the ecosystem we need to see. And everybody needs protection as per law, as per the law, all right? So I think let's have everybody being given their space. The young people, the Gen Z, let them be allowed to remember their loved ones. At the same time, we don't need to see businesses stop. We don't need to see our economy, at a standstill for a whole day, just because we need to do some of these things. And the Constitution really provides for avenues for us to have these conversations. If us as politicians need to pressure the government to address some of the issues we want addressed, there's a better way to do that, not just to really force a standstill in town.
Yet June 25th, the date itself has now morphed into something else. It's not just about the Gen Z protests. It appears it's now an opportunity to express any kind of dissatisfaction with government, that we wait for June 25th to do that. Should that be allowed as well? Because yes, many people, including about the finance bill, many people are not comfortable with it, but everyone probably is waiting for June 25th to raise that issue.
Actually, that's what's causing a lot of confusion around it, because there's so many agendas around 25th of June. On one end, you can see the victims and the relatives of the victims of 2024 police brutality wanting to commemorate their loved ones. On the other hand, you can see that the people who are spearheading these are actually politicians. So you're confused whether, because yes, it is provided for in the law that lawful parading and just demonstrating and expressing dissatisfaction is a given in our constitution. But the faces that are fronting this, it's a bit confusing because they make it look like political. The people that I've seen at the forefront of all this is the likes of Martha Karua, the likes of Orengo. I actually saw Orengo declaring a public holiday, which is not his mandate as a governor of Siaya. So I think politicians have infiltrated this. I do want to be in oneness with the people who lost their loved ones. It's not easy. And grieving is a process. It's just 2 years since this event happened. So naturally, they might still want to remember their loved ones and probably lay a wreath or lay a flower on the areas where they were shot at. But what's making me uncomfortable is that this thing has been infiltrated by politicians who just want to probably advance their agendas. So I feel like if this was all about remembering the people we lost, I would truly be good with it, so long as it's carried out in a peaceful way that does not disrupt the normal lives of other people. June 25th should not be a day that now everything comes to a standstill. If they want to, carry out a peaceful walk to remember their lives, that's a very welcome move. It's allowed. But to use that opportunity to disrupt the lives of other Kenyans is something I actually don't support. I think politicians have so many other avenues of addressing their issues, and they should not infiltrate a sad situation like losing of loved ones to now want to confront the government.
But are we right in reducing this date to just remembrance of those who died? Because even those who went out before anyone died, they had a list of things they were dissatisfied about. They were talking about their Adani deal at the airport. They were talking about high cost of living. Of course, the finance bill was also there, reject finance bill. There was a cocktail of issues where Kenyans felt dissatisfied with and were used that date to express their dissatisfaction, only that it turned violent and tragic. Are we misreading the real intention of June 25th? Probably this is the best opportunity for everyone to come out and say, this is what I have a problem with.
There's no national consensus on how 25th of June is supposed to look like, because the initial point where those issues emerged was around the finance bill of 2024. Right now, we are already done with the finance bill. And some of those issues that were being addressed at that time are no longer relevant today. Like if you were talking about the Adani deal, it's totally irrelevant right now. It's
but
not
we're dealing with a different issue still with the airport. We're dealing with Ebola issues.
Because those are developmental issues and they're supposed to be discussed on merit basis, one by one. We cannot lump them together and confuse them with the commemoration of people who are remembering their loved ones. Remember, last year, I think they had a church function at the Holy Family Basilica to celebrate their loved ones. But again, as usual, we'll see people with the political ambitions taking advantage. You will see criminals also taking advantage. Now, everybody wants to have his piece of interest addressed on that 25th. And that's where we go wrong. I do not think 25th is a holiday, as Honorable James Orengo wants to imply. Somebody one day said that you cannot copy-paste BAMBA. You know, you are not Raila Odinga. Only Raila Odinga who used to imagine public holidays and declare them and tell people not to go to work. Yeah. People are struggling to make their ends meet. They want to put food on their table. So you cannot just wake up. You have a salary of over $1 million, you have allowances, and then you tell people not to go to work. Who are you? It doesn't make sense at all for Honorable James Orengo to come up with such kind of thinking. It's really opportunistic for any politician to come out and start mixing his political ambitions and objectives with the kind of situation that we are dealing with in terms of commemorating people who lost their lives in 2024. Getting back to the issues, of course, Kenya is a work in progress. There are a lot of things that have emerged as points of conversation. And if you look at the finance bill of this year, it was passed with a lot of hula baloo here and there. And is in the process of being implemented. It's going to be signed. And then we have to continue. We cannot be static. We're going to be in the same point all the time. We cannot be complaining all the time. We have to appreciate the fact that there are things that are supposed to be done. There are challenges that we face, and then there's the responsibility of the government. When it comes to Article 37, for example, that you have a right to picket, peaceably present petitions, you realize that that's not an underogable right under Article 25. It's a limited right. That for as long as you are carrying out your exercise in a peaceful manner and doing it within the precincts of the law, then you are right to go ahead with it. But anytime you interfere with other people's rights, like if the commemorations interfere with the other people's normal way of doing business, then the rights become compromised as far as Article 24 of the Constitution is concerned.
Now that we anticipate this, probably there could be unrest. We do not know. The police have already issued warnings. The president has said police will take action. This is the same thing we're dealing with now, compensation of victims because of police action. Last year, about between 15 and 19 people died. Just a repeat of what had happened the previous year. Do you think it's an opportunity for police to show some restraint or to show some level of maturity in how they handle Kenyans this time around?
I believe it's that opportunity. But we need to go back to 2024 and still last year and ask ourselves, why are the Gen Zs and why are people really protesting? And have these issues been addressed, all right? Because this will continue to happen. And you've said it very well, Fred. It's about the cost of living. It's about cost of fuel. It's about job opportunities, you know. It's about young people feeling engaged and really participating in this, in pertinent issues that this government is really addressing and implementing. And it's really about all these things that we see the government undertaking, the projects, employment, all these opportunities. We need to ask ourselves, have the issues that make the young people go to streets been addressed? Because if those issues have not been addressed since 24, and that is why we still had the protest last year, that will still happen this year, all right? Because it's really young people coming out and saying, we need opportunities, all right? This government promised us a bottom-up economic transformation model. Is that what is happening? The young people are saying that we are here. We've gone to school, we have our certificates, but we do not see a government that is intentional to give us opportunities. So I think we need to go back to the drawing board, and the government needs to really ask itself these pertinent questions and see how do we ensure that these issues are addressed. If they are not addressed, the same thing will happen again this year. We'll still see the police coming out, and we know that our police have been very trigger happy when they see young people. I want to hope that nobody will be shot and killed by the police, but then us having mechanisms to address these issues so that these killings and this protest do not recur. So that is what we need to see, Fred. Okay. And a police service that is also aware that some of the things that the Gen Zs are protesting about also really concern them. All right, they are not just in the streets; they concern all of us as Kenyans.
2 years later,
yeah,
we've not seen any prosecution. The government has admitted liability by coming out with a compensation plan. Yeah. They talked about enforced disappearances. They talked about killings. They talked about injuries, all from police brutality, because that's actually the wordings of it. That's an admission of liability. Yet, beyond compensation, there's no semblance or even reparations. No one seems to be saying sorry. It's, okay, fine. Police, even the one who killed Rex Masai, who had been investigated and found culpable, they've rescinded that. And they said, okay, we're no longer sure that this is the officer who shot, meaning that no one will be held accountable. Yeah. Does it make sense approaching June 25th this year without making amends beyond compensation?
Okay, one thing that I've noted indeed, like I said earlier, that taking the step to compensate is a step in the right direction. But for justice to also seem to be done, we should be seeing things moving. I know this is not something I want to point at. I mean, the judiciary is an independent body, and they should not fail Kenyans on this. Bodies were lost, lives were lost. So you cannot tell us that we cannot point at who, you can't hold the people who are responsible culpable. I think that's a failure on the judiciary, and they really need to speed up investigations so that we can come to a conclusion on holding responsible the police that were responsible. Coming to the anticipated protest on 25th, I really want to urge the police that one life loss is way too many. We are commemorating people already been lost. We do not want to foresee a scenario where we have to collect dead bodies again from the streets. So whatever situation, because they have been given a notice in good time, I think their role should be to provide security, not to kill. And for that, I'd really, really urge the police that come 25th, let the people who will come out to protest, provide them with security, don't kill. I think Kenyans have had enough with young people losing their lives. But on the other hand, I also want to now engage fellow young people. We are going through quite a tough economic situation as a country. We do not want disruptions that, again, interfere with the economic growth. I mean, just one day of not going to work disrupts a lot of things. One day of not opening businesses already disrupts a lot of things. Right now, the government has opened so many avenues of engaging the youth. Why should protesting be the only avenue that you think of? For example, if we want to complain about the finance bill, for now, I really want to commend the government because a lot of public participation took place. We were given, as Kenyans and as citizens, we were given enough opportunities to express our dissatisfactions. I was a participant. I even floated a bill in Parliament. Yeah, so I was and I was heard. My bill was listed among those that were under consideration. And not only me, the Minister for Treasury went to Bunge la Wananchi, he went to universities, all avenues that were there to engage Kenyans. He took advantage of this. And generally speaking, when you look at even the events preceding passing of this bill, it was less dramatic as compared to the one for 2024. Why do you think it was that less dramatic? It's because Kenyans were feeling heard. Kenyans quite engaged. There are questions, they asked their questions and they were answered. So that by the time this bill was being passed, already people were carried along. So my question would be, why should the youth and all these politicians think that every time they're dissatisfied with the government, that the only option is to protest? There are so many other avenues. Okay, so I feel like, yes, we want to urge the police not to kill. At the same time, I want to urge the youth, please do not allow yourselves to be used by politicians to address their issues. The government has now come up with a way of engaging us in everything they are doing. They always want to hear the voice of the Wananchi. Can we also take up this opportunity to engage the government, tell them our dissatisfaction without necessarily going to the street to disrupt operations?
Right. Do you think there's an opportunity using this compensation to actually pursue justice for some of the victims? The fact that no single officer has been arraigned. I think the only one who was arraigned was the one who shot someone at point blank range, the mask seller. None other, especially in and around the precincts of Parliament, was taken to court. Do you think now it's an opportunity to revive that?
It is necessary that all of us live within the demands or the requirements of the rule of law. And therefore, any police officer who has used excessive power beyond what is provided for within the law is supposed to be held accountable, regardless of the time it happens. As a democracy, we need to be very serious with the working of our institutions. And I agree with John that the judiciary is supposed to be very deliberate in terms of pursuing justice, because in every case, there is always the prosecution and the defense. So the prosecution is supposed to prove its case, so that even if the defense will try to manipulate evidence and try to play around, the judge or the person who is given the authority of the judiciary under whatever circumstances is supposed to make a sound judgment. And then when it comes to arrest and prosecution, I believe that we need to ensure that all our institutions work well. You know, the difference between this time and the 1990s is that we have expanded our space of expression through our 2010 Constitution. And the institutions that exist there are not supposed to be there for cosmetic purposes. Like IPOA is supposed to do better than what they are doing right now. Yeah. In terms of investigating cases and holding police officers who have used power excessively, they are supposed to do better than what they are doing. So that even those people who are afflicted can feel satisfied that at least the justice is not only done, but is also seen to be done. Therefore, I think these responsibilities are usually at very individual levels. They're not necessarily at one corner. You cannot come and say the government or so-and-so is doing that unless you point out a specific institution that is not performing well. So for me, I think the Office of the Director of Prosecutions is supposed to do better in terms of ensuring that they have watertight cases, in terms of holding people accountable. The police themselves, the institutions of investigations, the IPOA that is supposed to oversight and ensure that the police are held accountable is supposed to do the same thing. On the side of Mwananchi, we have challenges. All of us have challenges at different levels. You cannot be sick and then you take poison just because you don't want to be sick. You'll die, of course. Either way, the pain will go away. But the consequence of poison is that you'll die. Therefore, we cannot try to solve every problem with the demonstrations. Let us make good use of the institutions that exist so that every problem or every issue is addressed in a customized manner. If there is an issue concerning the cost of living, you've seen that since the government of President Ruto came in, we were talking about unga going at about 250 shillings and above. Right now, it's around 100 and something. It's much less than what it was. So it means there's some progress that has been made. So let us itemize everything and see, have we made progress in this sector or not? Is there something that we need to do? Who is supposed to do it? So if we approach things that way, we will not be moving recklessly and carelessly and holding demonstrations that are not so helpful to us as a country.
Yeah. And of course, the finance bill will be quoted over and over again, the Finance Bill 2026. Now, part of that contention, remember the Finance Bill of 2024, which was part of the biggest complaint or the main bone of contention, actually, that the Gen Zs had, was eventually rejected by President William Ruto. Now, this time around, there's still controversy around the Finance Bill, but mostly from Parliament. The voting happened last week. Joanne says that the public participation was really much improved. But what about the conduct of members of Parliament in how they handled this? 186 members chose to stay away from the House on voting day. These are the representatives of the people. What does this portray? What does this mean?
It's a very good observation. And we are headed to a general elections next year. And you've said it very well. We had about 186 members of Parliament really just, staying away from Parliament on a very critical day to vote the finance bill. It says that either they are not very excited with that particular bill, because it cannot be coincidental that on that very important day, most of them are really not in Parliament. And the conduct of the members of Parliament now going forward is really going to shape how they will be elected or how they will not be elected coming 2027 general elections. And of course, we had a lot of hue and cry from young people, from business community, from farmers. I come from Odhaya. There was also a controversial clause when it comes to 0.8% export tax levy. And that is why you saw even most of the members of Parliament from central Kenya really just staying away. It shows that, one, they are not ready to stay in Parliament and to vote yes, because it's going to go against the wishes and the aspirations of the people they represent. So it is safer for them to stay away. But for them, staying away is tantamount to really voting yes, because it forces a quorum and it allows that those who are there gets really a majority. So it's a really played, very well calculated game to say that you're going to play safe politically so that we are not seen to vote yes to a bill that most of the Kenyans, and especially those in farming and those in business, really had a problem with. But for them to protect their political future is to really say, I'm going to stay away. And we saw most of them doing that. So I think it is not right. And we want to really challenge all of them, and we want to call them out. If you believe in what the government is doing, please stay in parliament. If you do not want to support that bill, say, I vote no. If you're confident enough to say that I want to support it, just stay there, debate and say that I vote yes. But these issues of now playing around and trying to be safe while still trying to please the government of the day is not right, and the citizenry can be able to see and read between the lines.
It is not what we saw back in 2024 when the controversy was really there. MPs were in-house. Those who said no expressly. Those who said yes were very confident about their yes vote. This is very telling, that MPs opt, more than half the number of members of the National Assembly opt not to go in to vote. That level of failure to commit, whether yes or no, that, because the problem back then was that many people had very little confidence in Parliament. The 13th Parliament has been criticized of being wishy-washy. Do you see this problem persisting beyond today?
In fact, Fred, the conduct of the MPs on that day was quite embarrassing, and there has been backlash. If you check social media, Kenyans are very dissatisfied. To tell that the people who voted for this finance bill, they were less than the ones that did not show up. It was really, really a bad show from our MPs. Listen, you see, the primary role of any elected leader is representation. I know they have other roles, such as legislation and oversight and all that, but the primary role is that they represent us. How do we even now gauge at this point that the yes that we saw, because the majority won, that it is what was supposed to win? How do we tell that out of the 186 that did not show up, were they supposed to be on the no or the yes side? Meaning we don't even know that if this finance bill was actually elected by a popular majority, because a majority was actually out there, you know. So this was really, really embarrassing. It was a bad conduct on the side of our elected leaders, because I cannot go to the parliament to agree with the finance bill or to oppose it. As Joanne, I will expect my member of parliament to go there and do that role on my behalf, and then they just stay away. That is not what we pay them for. Okay, right now, as you see, Kenya, we are struggling with the economy. I mean, one of the people who take up very serious parts are these members of parliament. Why should we take care of them very well for them to fail to support or to give our voices on a very important bill such as finance bill? Because this is one of the most important bills. A country is run on the finance bill. They just stayed away. They were no show. This is a departure from what we saw in 2024, because in 2024, yes, it was dramatic, but the ones who said no actually said no, and we saw them. The ones who said yes actually said yes. This time around, we cannot be playing politics of being safe. You have to take a side. You cannot be wanting to look good in the eyes of the government, and at the same time, you want to look good in the eye of the citizenry. So what I think I can say as at this point, the voters, you watched and saw. I think the people who did not show up to vote should be punished. We are going into a general election. This makes it easy for you to see if you want to reconsider your member of parliament or look for a better alternative.
Remaining non-committal says a lot, especially for such a huge number of members of parliament. Either they were not comfortable with the finance bill and they felt that whichever decision they make will affect their re-election probably, or they're just lazy and do not want to be seen to take sides.
Fred, issues around the budgeting and public finance are very key as far as the obligations and duties of members of parliament are concerned, as articulated in Article 95 of the Constitution of Kenya, especially about the National Assembly. And therefore, them absconding such national responsibility is very disappointing, especially to the electorate. It means that the constituencies that they represent had no say as far as that budget process was concerned. But now, if I have to be the devil's advocate, these MPs are right now divided between winning the election in 2027 and also doing what is right. So, you know, in this country, people believe so much in protecting their bread than anything else. In as much as they come out and say they are nationalists, they want to push a national agenda, the first thing, agenda one, is usually food. They want to eat first. Therefore, they want to work in mechanisms, in frameworks that ensure that they are finding a way of being re-elected. So they are conflicted between doing what is right and doing what is popular. There are certain elements, especially within the ranks in the opposition, who have come out to aggressively fight against the budget-making process, right? From the finance bill to implementation, and so many other issues around it, for political expedience, not necessarily in the interest of Kenyans. And therefore, they have poisoned a section of the society to think that even paying taxes is a wrong thing to do, that you have to complain all the time you see there's a levy. How does the government run? How do we implement these projects that we are having? How do we, now we talk about the things that have been promised by the government. How are we going to implement them if we are not putting our taxes in place, if we are not paying taxes? That we have to do. So it is not wrong to pay taxes, as some people have been trying to portray. And therefore, no one should be afraid to take a commitment and vote yes so that the country progresses. So these people who have made it look like it's a crime to have a finance bill even in the first place have poisoned the voters in certain sections of the country to make legislators know that even if it's right to vote yes, the best thing, let me just stay away so that I remain popular with the people who have been poisoned in their minds. So that might have been the reason for some members of parliament not to come and vote, because they know it's right to vote. But again, they are afraid that their voters have been poisoned.
But what does it do to the level of confidence that Kenyans have in that house? The 13th Parliament has been much criticized. That's the reason why protesters say they even breached the precincts of Parliament. They felt these are not really representing us.
Yeah.
With the kind of action you saw last week, are they any better now?
Not at all. Parliament needs to be very independent. It needs to be a very independent arm of government, all right? But what you have seen in the 13th Parliament is perhaps a parliament that is really, that is gagged, that is not free to speak, and that is influenced a lot by the executive. And that is what I want to really agree with my good friend here, that some of them are now trying to play safe because they're in a dilemma. They're between a hard place and a rock. Do I go there to please the president or to please the executive at the expense of my people? So I think it's safer for me then to stay away. But I think they just need to know that the population, the citizenry, and the electorate, 2027 is more woke than before many times. They can read between the lines. They can see who is willing to stand with the people, all right, freely and without any fear. And those are the members of parliament, 122 of them who went to parliament first. Whether they voted yes or no, they are free and they are courageous enough to go to parliament to debate what they believe is right. And we also saw 40 of them really saying and voting no. All right, that is also really good courage, because I believe, and she has said it very well, that one of the fundamental roles of a member of parliament is really representation. And what is representation? Representation is really engaging your people, engaging your constituents, listening to their opinions, all right? And then taking those opinions to parliament, all right? Going there, debating issues, and really just debating also in the interest of your people. So that is what we need to see. I think it's very fair to say that this 13th Parliament is largely compromised, is largely remote controlled by executive. They do not have, the independence of debate, the independence of thought, and that is why you can see a whole 186 staying away, because they do not know whether to stay there. And somebody will ask them a question.
But it would appear they brought this on themselves.
Yes.
That they ceded too much ground or ceded their authority to a different force or influence, that they are now unable to make decisions.
Yeah.
If we have such a parliament going forward that is not able to make decisions, that they would rather stay away than make a decision, what does it mean?
It's a tragedy, if you ask me. It's a tragedy because as a mwananchi, how will my voice be heard if you're staying away from serious bills such as this? I find that quite tragic, but it all is not lost. I think we are learning, we are observing as voters, and then this kind of conduct is helping us into making decisions on who we want to retain and who we don't want to retain. Because the laws are very clear. The legislature is in an independent body. Why are you afraid of the executive? Why are you not going in there, read the bill, and take a stand, listen to go and engage with your people and hear their voices. Come and debate in parliament and air the views of your constituents. And also make a stand, just make a view. If you still want to please the executive, then are you giving out the power that we gave to you as the people to the executive again? These are very independent bodies. If you now want to please the executive or you want to bend to the whims of the executive, then you are actually not representing the mwananchi. Right. You should actually be oversighting the executive, not rubber stamping their suggestions. So I feel that Kenyans, this is also a good opportunity. Not everything is bad, because this is a good lesson for us. Now we know which member of parliament we can rely on when we want our voices heard, and we also know the ones we cannot rely on when we want our voices heard.
The fact of the matter is that currently the National Assembly has been weakened to the point where members of that house are not able to make a decision, at least not openly. They would rather find it easy to run away, fail to show up on matters that are very crucial to Kenyans. So what exactly is your members of parliament doing in that house? Are you confident that your rights or voice is being represented there? Where are we heading, where most of our members of parliament would rather not make a decision and leave it to chance? All right. Before we come back and continue this conversation, let's link up with our reporter on the ground, Muthoni Brenda. Muthoni, good morning. We're just discussing matters to do with anticipation of what will happen on Thursday, as well as what happened in Parliament during the voting for the finance bill. What are the people on the streets of Nairobi saying about these discussions? Muthoni, if you can hear me, what are the people on the streets of Nairobi saying about what we're discussing in studio this morning? It would appear we're having some challenges with Muthoni. We'll be back and we'll be getting those views from the streets of Nairobi. For now, let's take a short break. You're watching TV47 Breakfast. We'll be right back.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m.
Good morning.
You have my rent?
Leo jioni kama tutakuwa tumelipa rent, nauza hii simu yako. Hamna pesa. I need 3 G's to make my nails today. Sasa hivi natuhusu aje?
Can I order now? Do you ship? Can I get blinking ones?
Mimi nilikuwa na trade. Nimewekelea kitele yangu. Kitele yangu na trade. Ikikunyuma.
Oh my God. He left me. Nitumie ni live. Uko nje kuna Wi-Fi.
Why? Hi-Fi?
Wait, so what do we call this dish again?
I have no idea.
The cucumbers are there specifically for my beauty routine.
Tamulini kero make a beauty product.
Na ameenda.
Tunafaa tukuwe na logo yetu. Like, si ni brand already.
You won't entertain divas. No. I'm not dealing with a man child.
Amazing. Nishapenda hii energy.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
My father used to tell me that our hotel is the home for travelers. I guess I forgot that. Recently, it's been more of a mirror of my own ambition. Booyah! We might fail. We will probably fail, but not for a lack of trying. So for the last time, and the first time, welcome to Connect In, the best experience in East and Central Africa and its environs.
Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m.
This is a very serious place.
I see that.
Surely. Hey, Nyumba.
This is the place.
Just for a few days.
Rule number 2.
Kwani Google inajua maisha yangu wewe?
That's my seat.
It's a chair. It was hers.
You're new here?
Yes.
You learned the rhythm.
This place is run by structure. Structure.
It is a system. Ni venye tu ni system haisikizi.
And what happens if something you haven't chosen enters your day?
I remove it.
That's not always going to be possible here.
Then you are going to have a problem.
Noted.
What are you planning? To escape from a resort?
This is not a resort, my friend. This is a storage.
Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47.
I just want to be in the zone.
Nairobi, where the hustle never sleeps and neither do the scammers.
Link Up, we are talking about something that's affecting all of us. We are talking trust.
We're diving into the campus life.
I just want to be in
All right, welcome back. You're still watching TV47 Breakfast. In a short while, we'll be linking up with our reporter on the streets of Nairobi, Muthoni Brenda, as she gets the views of city residents on what we're discussing here. Today, the focus is on what we anticipate will be some of the actions we'll witness on Thursday this week. It's been touted to be a memorial or remembrance of the victims of police brutality, those who died in 2024 and those who died last year as they protested around June 25th. There have been calls for people to stay at home, and police and other security agencies are anticipating that there could be some unrest, and they're ready for them. What kind of action police will take, we still do not know. The other big discussion is about the conduct of Parliament, the National Assembly. The fact that they passed the finance bill with a majority, more than 50% of members of the National Assembly were not present. We've seen them previously being very active, especially around the impeachment case of the former deputy president. The House was full, and that had not been witnessed in a very long time, meaning that when they feel they need to be in the House, they are in the House. During the break, you seem to suggest that probably you challenge the fact that these people have ceded too much ground.
I do not believe in this idea or this point of view that the executive has taken charge of Parliament. That's not the case, because the rules, the duties and responsibilities of each institution are defined within our Constitution. Therefore, if there is a member of Parliament who is failing in his own position as an individual, there's a personal issue. Like now, all those MPs that not turn up that day are supposed to be held accountable in their own specific individual capacities. Instead of just,
do we do that?
Instead of blanketly.
If we may talk about reality,
instead of
we know the recall clause is not usable.
Okay, the recall clause has been played around with the same Parliament, and I think Kenyans need to find a way of ensuring that that recall clause is implemented, so that every individual member of Parliament can be held accountable at an individual level. We cannot blanketly just declare that an institution is rotten or is bad.
But 50% of people refuse to come. That's a whole institution.
Yet we had MPs who went there, debated and voted. So those are good members of Parliament. But they also have weaknesses in other aspects, like every other human being. So we cannot blanketly just say this institution has been captured by the other institution. Even if the executive wanted to capture the Parliament as an institution, it's not possible, because all the powers of every institution in this country is protected and is provided for in the Constitution. So they only need to ensure that they work according to the provisions of the Constitution.
Okay. One of the most criticized members of the National Assembly on this action is Ndindi Nyoro, the MP for Kiharu. He had been very vocal, especially around the budget-making debate. He was vocal days before the voting. inside Parliament talking about what should be, what should not be in the finance bill. Then on the day of voting, there's a no-show.
Yeah. I want to start by challenging his point of view. And I want to say that it cannot be coincidental that on an important day when Parliament is supposed to debate and vote for the finance bill, you know, really providing fiscal guidance for the next 12 months, more than half of the members of Parliament are not present, all right? We've had a lot of claims about this Parliament, you know, about bribery, about personal opportunities, and I mean, it can only be that, all right? It can only be that these members of Parliament, most of them are afraid to be seen to be going against the government or to be seen to be going against the wishes of the people they represent. So it is very true that this Parliament is captured by the executive, all right? Because they need to be in the House. They know that this is an important bill. They cannot run away, all right? And we have had, you remember at one point even BAMBA said, you know, the welfare, that there is a lot of bribery claims. We've heard during the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua that members of Parliament were paid, and perhaps that is why most of them were present, all right? And this, them staying away, perhaps is also part of it, being paid to stay away or just trying to play safe.
Deputy Speaker spoke to the fact that probably some instructions are coming from the direction of the executive. She said,
yes, it is a fact.
President, when you tell us to do this, we do this.
It is not rocket science. You can see direct influence by the executive.
Do you think that this was a collective decision,
that
186 members stay away, that someone may have told them stay away, or do you think it was individual decisions based on fear?
It is, perhaps it is, of course there's influence. Some of them will be told stay away, but most of them are just playing safe. They know they have 1 year to go. They know that this particular document is not popular with their electorate. So they're playing safe. Instead of me going to vote for yes, to be seen, to be in good books with government, let me stay away so that even I'm still in good books with my people. So most of them are playing now 2027 politics, but still, like I said, supporting the government's decision, because staying away is tantamount to voting yes. All right, because then you force that quorum, you force that number. Coming to Ndindi Nyoro, my good friend, I think I would also want to challenge him that the pressers, the being vocal, do not count. What really counts is the voting, all right? I would rather you stay silent, but then still go and vote physically yes or no. But telling us it is wrong, telling us that this is not right, and then staying away is really, it doesn't help us as Kenyans. So I want to challenge all the members of Parliament and even my very good friend Ndindi Nyoro that yes, it's okay for you to be vocal and to really, as an expert, to tell us what is happening. But please, what really counts is you being in the House at that particular hour and voting yes or voting no, really depending on how you look at it.
And say something about even debate around age of our legislators. Many people believe that the younger the legislator, the better the decision. But seeing that kind of action from Ndindi Nyoro, what did it make you feel?
First, before I talk about Ndindi Nyoro, who is also a very good personal friend of mine, allow me to disagree with my fellow panelists when he says that most of this legislature already knew that this bill is very unpopular and they didn't want to be part of it. That's a very self-defeating statement, because if I know my electorate feel this is unpopular, then it is my responsibility to go and vote no, to actually make it now unpopular. When you stay away, how are the voices of those majority you're imagining that find it unpopular represented?
Unless you don't have the choice of saying no.
Unless you don't have a choice of saying no.
That's
and you do have a choice. So when he is trying to abscond them of direct, they should take direct responsibility. I also want to disagree with him. These people are not supposed to be yielding to what the executive wants. And we are not going to point fingers at the executive. We are going to point fingers at the right place, which is the legislature. They should take personal responsibility. We are not going to shift blame, because what I hear from him, he's trying to shift blame. He's trying to blame the executive for the actions of the legislature. No, these are very independent bodies. If they have failed, if the legislature have failed, we are going to point fingers at the right place, which is the legislature. We are not going to blame the executive for this.
And I agree with Joan Famba that even public participation is mainly domiciled within the legislature. But they are the ones who conduct. So they are the ones who are in custody of the views of the public. They know what these people said, yes or no.
No, actually, I had not finished because I also wanted to talk about Ndindi Nyoro. Yeah, Ndindi Nyoro is a friend, and that makes me a bit careful how I talk, because people are loyal to their friends. But on this one, he failed me. He's someone that Kenyans listen to because he's very well educated, he understands issues of economics. At the same time, he was the former chair of the budget committee. So when he says something, people take it as law. The other time when there was the LPO for Kenya Pipeline, my sister refused to buy them because Ndindi Nyoro said they're not good. People listen to him across the country. So this is someone who has a voice. We look at him as an intellectual. We graduated with him during the masters. So when he says something, we take it as law. He was misleading the public by quoting clauses that were not existing. As if that was not enough, I heard him saying that some of the participants were manufactured, that he has never seen a scenario where Kenyans propose a levy on anything. I proposed a levy on furnace oil because it pollutes the environment. I did that. So he's saying that some of those things look like the committee for finance and planning were actually manufacturing them. That was a lie. So I just want to call out my friend Ndindi that he is someone we respect a lot. I respect him. He's respected. He's a brain that we are all looking up to. When he says something, we want to listen to him. He should take advantage of that to give us factual information. And actually, the part that where he didn't vote is what really broke my heart. He should have, because he had taken a stand. Ndindi was very clear. He was not supporting the finance bill. And even the proposals that he had proposed were not, they were not taken into consideration. He was very clear. So what happened when it came to just saying no? That means he decided to play safe. Why play safe when you're already a star legislator? He's one of the star legislators that we know.
And even the level of debate before the voting, many members appear not to have been very well acquainted with the documents. Not once did was a member forced to withdraw when they quoted clauses that were not existing in the document itself. Whether it was a late amendment or not, surely these people have researchers. Are we wrong in just calling out this parliament? I'm very vocal in calling them out, that this is a rotten house.
But anyway, before I make my point, I think Kenyans should learn through that and learn to elect well-educated legislators in the future. You know, someone who is illiterate or semi-literate or someone who does not love reading books, how will he find time, whether he has a research or not, to pay attention to anything that is written? They'll not find time for that. So this populism of electing someone because he's shouting on the streets or what, it should be a thing of the past. People should learn to elect people who have gone to school, people who are capable of representing them. And people should not be afraid of expressing this. You know, when you raise this issue, people start telling you, so-and-so is an MP and he's not going to school. Are you better than him? No. People should elect people who are well educated, people who can read, people who can legislate, people who understand the responsibilities and duties of members of parliament. In the context of what we are discussing, a good number of members of parliament who are agitating the north side were misinformed or lacked information. Like you just indicated, some of the aspects of the debate, people will stand up, make arguments about, for example, clause 169, and then it's told it does not exist, it's not in the bill. Have you read the bill? It seems you have read something different, or you have read the bill of 2024, another year, as opposed to what is being tabled. So out of shame, I think these people who intended to vote no realized that they had no basis of voting no. And instead of coming and being unable to vote yes, which is a moral responsibility and moral duty, because they have realized that that's the truth and that's the right thing to do, because of avoiding to be ashamed of their own actions and previous debates, they decided to keep off. That's my hypothesis. And that's why I insist that we must learn to elect people who are thorough and competent in the space that we want them to represent us in. For example, at the presidential level, we did the right thing. We voted as someone who holds a PhD, someone who is running the country in the right direction. President William Ruto is doing a lot of work. I'm giving you an example of electing someone on the basis of competence. We must learn. The way we did at the presidential level, we must be the same at all levels. So we'll have a country moving in a progressive manner because of competence.
Gitonga, you are an aspirant
to
be a member of the National Assembly.
Yes.
Looking at this house, is that what you aspire to? Is that you're thinking of being a legislator?
Absolutely not. But before I come to that, there's a point that I really don't want us to miss. Because I'm not talking from a theoretical point of view, but from a very practical point of view, when I say that this parliament is captured and there is a lot of direct influence by the executive. And I'm not shifting the blame from parliament to the executive. I'm just saying that there is direct influence, and some of the decisions that are being made in parliament is because somebody's either afraid or free because somebody's watching. And once, I think, before 2024 finance bill voting, we saw the president himself, I think he was in Kajiado, saying that nataka kuona ni akina nani hao ambao wataenda kuangusha finance bill. All right? And he even said that hata ikue wazi. All right? Isikuwe secret. I want to see ni akina nani hao wataangusha hiyo finance bill. And it was very unpopular at that time. All right? So that is what we are talking about. And we need to see a parliament that is free, a parliament that is independent. This one is not. And it's not theoretical, it is practical. Of course, I am running to be a member of parliament 2027. And I want to agree with my brother that this is the highest time now that we get to elect competent leaders who can be able to do the job. Leaders who understand the role of parliament, leaders who can call out to the executive when they're doing what they're doing is wrong, when what they're doing is not right, a leader who is independent, and a leader who knows they've been sent to parliament not to please the government of the day, but to represent their people, to represent his or her people, to voice the concerns of his or her people. And that is where we're headed to. I am very ashamed of this parliament, all right, to be very honest, because every time they're always on the wrong side of history, all right, when it comes to public participation, when it comes to debating, when it comes to really being free as a member of parliament. It cannot be coincidental. And I'll keep saying that you have more than 50% absconding one of their very important roles during the debating and voting of the finance bill. So, and that is why some of us are here, and they're saying we want to get into that parliament because we believe we can do better than those who are there, Fred, all right? So for me, I am very embarrassed and ashamed of this 13th parliament. They are not free. It's like they've become another caucus or another parliamentary group that is really remote controlled by the executive. And by saying that, I really leave the blame with them, because they need to be competent enough to know that they've been sent to parliament with a very special mandate by the people, all right, to legislate, all right, what is right for the people, to oversight the executive, to call them out when what they do is wrong, and to represent their people, all right, because in a constituency, no one else has the privilege, the advantage to go into Bunge and debate. It's only that one member of parliament. And therefore, what they need to do in parliament is not their wishes, but the wishes of their people.
Yeah, they say that power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Correct.
And it would appear that when it comes to our parliament, I will not hesitate but to call them out. Let me give you an opportunity to make your final remarks, starting with you, Joanne, about two minutes or so.
Okay. I think the finance bill, this time round, I think the CS body did a better job. I can't say best, but it was a better job based on the previous ones. It was a departure from the 2024 finance bill because it did not introduce new taxes. And I congratulate him for that. Looking at the general document and looking at the current circumstances of the economy, I think he did what I would consider the best. Okay, I think Kenyans, we were heard, that I can say. There was sufficient public participation from my end. And I just want to urge us, the government might not be getting it right all the time, but it would be very, very dishonest for us to say they are also getting it wrong all the time. I just want to urge us Kenyans to be people who are also, because making of our nation does not take one person. Making of a nation does not even take only these organs of the government. We have to do it together as a nation. constant disruptions through protests, and I want to call them unnecessary protests, because I feel we should protest when we are trying to get the government to hear us, but they are refusing to hear us. In this circumstance of finance bill, the government had us, they involved us, and now a final document has been voted. I think I want to urge us Kenyans to also learn to appreciate where the government is getting it right. On this one, it was a better one. May not be a best one, but it was a better one. Let us be people who also acknowledge the president is also doing so much, honestly. He's getting it wrong sometimes, but he gets it right most of the time. The situation right now is quite hard. But in this hard economy, you can see things moving. You can see affordable houses. You can see these things. Personally, what I appreciate the most is these government services that are now digitized. That we don't have to go and queue for things that we used to queue for. Things we used to give Vitu Vidogo for them to come out, passports, driving license, you just go online. Those are areas that are actually working. So as much as we are quite litigious and we are activists by nature, we are always punching holes, let us also be people who appreciate when it is working. When the president has done well, let us appreciate. When the finance bill has been done well and the CS has done well, let us appreciate. And then finally, as we go, I want to also commend Kenyans. I think 2024 finance bill was quite a game changer, because since that time, Kenyans are so involved in this budget making process. I have never seen people who are hawk-eyed in every step on the way. Kenyans were asking questions. They actually read this thing, because the kind of questions they were asking tells you they were informed. In fact, a majority of them were informed more than the legislator I saw debating. I want to commend us, Kenyans. Let us continue like this. Let us be involved. Let us ask questions where we need to ask questions. Let us be involved. Let us be part of this government. Congratulations to Kenyans for being very, very active in holding the government accountable.
Asante sana. Fumba.
Fred, I think there is a very prolific social media user. I think maybe you have come across him. It's called Levin Opio. Levin Opio documents stuff that includes historical facts. So there's a time I saw he posted something about a newspaper cutting in 1970s, saying that the cost of life, cost of living is too high. That was in 1970s, and the fuel was about 2 shillings and something like that per liter. So I want to say that the challenges that we face today are not so unique as opposed to the previous circumstances. The difference is that every time has its own challenges of the season. They are not the same. They are not the same in terms of extent, but in most cases, issues like cost of living, budgetary challenges, they are always there. So I want Kenyans to be optimistic and understand that the president has made a lot of efforts in making this country better. If you look at the cost of living, if you look at the time he came in, the cost of unga, he said was about 250, and now is 100 and something. You know, that's the basic need. You look at other developments, you look at Alanza Stadium, you look at affordable housing. Why are we always looking at things as a glass being half empty instead of looking at it as half full? So there's progress. Like even at the international level, you've seen the world's latest, the first trillionaire, Elon Musk, coming out and saying that we want humanity to occupy Mars. The ambition is to occupy Mars, but we have not even managed to occupy the moon. So that ambition of occupying the moon will be a step towards going to Mars. The attempts to go to the moon have been there. And people have managed to reach there, but they have not built the bases. So let us also know that even if we are aiming at building some of this stuff, I was looking at this newspaper headline of 6 months. Even if we are saying in 6 months, we can still achieve the same, even if it's in 1 year or 2 years. Like you see the roads in Gabatula, the one, not Gabatula, this Kotulo, Tarbaj, the roads that the president was mentioning, they are work in progress right now. So.
Asante sana. I want to say 3 things quickly. I want to remind the Kenyans that, yes, we have complained a lot about this parliament. We have complained a lot about things that are not working in the last 3 years. I want to tell them, and I want to tell all of us that an opportunity is coming in 2027 for us to be able to fix it. All right. The provisions of Article 38 dictates that every Kenyan who is above 18 has the right to be able to vote leaders into office. And I want to agree with my fellow panelists that let us now be able to really get the right leaders into office so that we are not complaining every day. Leaders who are competent enough, leaders who can do the job, leaders who are empathetic and passionate about people, because they need to understand that the decisions they make really influence how people live. Also to remind them that provisions again of Chapter 1 of our Constitution dictates that power belongs to the people. And that power can be exercised directly or indirectly through democratically elected leaders. And therefore, that's another opportunity for us to be able to exercise that power, you know, in 2027 by ensuring we have the right leaders who can be able to champion our needs. Anybody who goes against the wishes and the wills of the people is not the leader that we desire. For us in opposition, I'm in opposition now, and I'm running to be Member of Parliament in Othaya. When we call out government, it's not because we hate the people in government. It's because we love our country too much, and we want the government to do what is right. Fred, I want to say here that I will not celebrate affordable housing when I know behind it we have too many workers, crying about a housing levy that was implemented without their wishes, without their involvement. I will not celebrate Talanta Stadium when I know 11 billion shillings have been lost and it has costed more than Old Trafford Stadium in the United Kingdom. I will not celebrate compensation when I know it was intentional killing of the young people by this government. We are going to continue calling out this government when they do what is not right, because we want our country to be better. We want our country to be better for the coming generations and for all of us. So let us continue to work together, and let us continue to pressure the government to do what is right, because they were put into office by Kenyans to do what is right.
Asante sana. Anthony Gitonga, MP aspirant of Othaya constituency, former NC former political analyst, and Joanna Kinyo-Pon, policy analyst. Asanteni sana for your time at TV47. It has been a good debate here on the 22nd of June, 2026. Only 3 days to the much anticipated 25th June date, the second anniversary remembering the victims of police brutality. What will happen that day, we still do not know, but it's happening nonetheless. My name is Freddie Ndimuli. After the break, Katela Macy will be on set with a team to discuss matters sports, of course, the World Cup, a big discussion. Do stand by for that. From me, it's good morning.